The education system at the moment, combined with social media, screen time, children having such busy lives, after school they're doing X, Y and Z, they don't get a chance to wind down and relax, they're overstimulated. All of this combined, I just thought there's a real need to let the children just be children and give them an opportunity just to be and relax and have space for themselves. Give them that space and the silence. Schools are so busy with noise, that there's activity going on all of the time, and then when they go home it's exactly the same, and they're not used to just sitting still and being silent. And I just found there was a huge need for that. I feel that the academic side of teaching is really taking over everything, and that's not just what primary school teaching is about, or secondary school, but particularly primary school. It's about developing the whole child and nurturing the wholeness of them, and that's not just their brain, that's their heart, that's their soul, that's the emotional side of them, the social and personal side. And I do feel the education system at the minute has just put that to one side, and they're only focusing on children reaching their academic potential regardless of anything else, and their emotional side and their social side is put on the back burner. And I don't think that makes a full emotional child and a full socially aware child, and they're not prepared to go into the real world. They're not resilient. A lot of the time children are used to saying happy, sad, mad, and that's about it. But if you give them the vocabulary to be able to explain their emotions, which is what we do in both yoga and mindfulness meditation, the children can then begin to express themselves and then think about, right, well, what tools can I use? Can I use breathing? Can I talk about it? Can I just go and get a hug? Can I spend a little bit of time by myself? And they start to use the tools to then work through their emotions. And it's not a way of ignoring them, it's a way of acknowledging them and then dealing with it. And I think that's something that children now don't have the time to do. So when something happens, they react quickly and then move on to the next thing without being able to kind of work through their emotions. And I know it sounds kind of airy-fairy, but there's a lot of scientific research that goes with it as well. The more things that you do with your brain, the more you practice something, the more connections your brain makes through the neurons. Right. So if you practice judo and you keep practicing or practice the piano, same thing, you will become better and it'll become second nature. But equally, if you practice stress or anger or resentment, it becomes easier to get stressed and it becomes easier to get angry. So through controlled breathing and mindfulness and meditation, you can train your brain and your amygdala to calm down. So the prefrontal cortex in your brain calms down the amygdala, and we use lots of hand activities and different breathing techniques, and we talk about the amygdala and the guard dog and the hippocampus, which is their wise owl, and it stores all of their information, a little bit like Google, in their brain. So the children realise that if their guard dog, if their amygdala is activated, it doesn't send messages to their prefrontal cortex or to their hippocampus. So that's why sometimes in the middle of an exam, they can freeze because their amygdala has been triggered, and so if they just breathe and calm down, then all of the connections will go to their hippocampus, and all of the information they've stored for their spelling test or for their SATs will then come forward, and they'll be able to start working again. I think if you look at a toddler, they are in the moment, they are present. I can spend hours at the beach with my little boy, and all he does is look at sand and pebbles and twigs and the waves, and he's totally engrossed in that. He's not looking at anything else, he's not thinking about anything else. And children are very good at doing that until they start. It is the education system where they go to school, and we ask them to do more than one thing at once, and you've got to listen, but you've got to be trying to work out the calculation at the same time, and then you've got to be able to explain it, and then talk with your talk partner, and then talk with them, and then share it with the class. And the lessons are very, very fast paced, and a lot of the time those children who just need a little bit more time to process things, or their working memory isn't as fast as other children, sometimes do get left behind in class because they're not as quick. So I do think children are really good at doing that, but I think very quickly they start to lose it because of the society that we're in at the moment. I would love to see this on the curriculum. I think that emotional well-being is something that children should be taught alongside English and maths and science and RE and PE as well. I think unless children feel confident and happy and secure in themselves, they are never going to reach their academic potential. So trying to push the children to reach that goal without nurturing their emotional well-being, I think, schools are really going to struggle, and the government, I think, are becoming more aware of it, but I do think we've got a long way to go for that to be, part of their daily curriculum. A lot of the time, the teachers have said, wow, these children are a bit of a handful normally, but you've really got them in a calm, but also they come back into class with clarity as well. So they're not sleepy and drowsy. They're coming back awake and ready to learn, but in a calm way. I would say that I'm hoping to empower children to be happy, healthy, and have emotional literacy.